We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 38 of Vikings Anonymous. I'm Rhino and I'm a Vikings fan.
And I'm Lance and I'm also a Vikings fan.
Hi, Lance.
Hi, Rhino.
This is how we feel after that wonderful game against the Kitties this weekend.
Oh, there I am. Look at that. My mask is gone.
All right. Poof, like magic.
Ho, 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 it's magic, you know.
Right, I know. Like, wow, look at those special effects, man.
Yeah, hey, we spare no expense on this program.
I click my fingers and shit comes off.
I'm not going to touch that one. Welcome to episode 38 of Vikings Uncensored. I got no words about what happened. I got no words about what happened yesterday or Sunday. We're recording on Monday night here.
I'm gonna tell you what, though, that loss to me, as disheartening as it was, to me, it wasn't as painful as some of the other losses this season. Granted, it was against the winless Lions. I mean, hats off to those guys. They came in, they played spoiler.
I don't know. Dan Campbell tried to give it to us, and we didn't take it. So
you know what, Rhino? This was inevitable.
Yeah, well, and I told
it was going to happen one way or another.
I told
this
you
team was bound to burn.
I told you on Friday that I had a really bad feeling about this game, and I could not in good conscience pick the Vikings to win it.
Yeah.
And again, more often than not, my gut is right.
I went into Sunday with a feeling a certain way to begin with before the game. After the game, I felt the same way. I wasn't feeling like upset, although, you know, like I should be, but I felt like it was coming anyways. Like I had been ready for that loss to begin with.
You're just getting numb to the whole thing. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got a few things to go over here, and then we'll do our obligatory breakdown of that game, and then we'll do our award segments and look ahead to Pittsburgh and all that kind of good stuff here. So we'll get started right away. Big news, I guess, out of the game. Adam Thielen ends up like the second or third play of the game, ended up with a sprained ankle. So guessing of a high ankle sprain, he's not going to be playing for at least a couple of weeks.
Right.
At this point in time, I'm ready. I would say just shut him down. Same thing with Dalvin Cook, but
I want to see what we got in this young crop that we don't get to see often. You know, let some of these guys loose. I want to see. I think at this point, at some point, at least if not this Thursday, you're gonna want to see what you have in mind eventually. I think.
Yeah, but as long as Zimmer is still coaching, we're not going to see that because
right.
He's still going to hold on to that thing that, you know, we can sneak in as a 7th seed and lose in the wild card round kind of thing. But anyway, speaking of Adam Thielen, before we get too far into it, want to remind everybody to watch during the show here for the secret phrase that will pop up on top of the screen up there.
Top here, yep.
For our subscriber contest. Again, all you need to do is be subscribed to the YouTube channel. And then when that secret phrase pops up, put it down in the actual comment section below, not the live chat if you happen to be on there with us on Wednesday night, but down in the comment section below, and you will be entered to win this awesome Adam Thielen limited edition print that we will be giving away at the conclusion of the regular season. So like wild card weekend, we'll give it away.
Yep.
Again, want to thank Boulder Tap for sponsoring the show tonight and for sponsoring our live feeds on location we've been doing during the games the last few weeks. Craft burgers, craft beer, and an atmosphere the whole family will love. Make sure you guys go and check them out. Their food is awesome. They've got a new burger of the month. It's like a Philly cheesesteak burger, something like that. I didn't get a chance to have it the other day because it wasn't my the right day to eat it on my diet, but I'm going to go have it one day this week here, I think, because it sounded really good. And
It sounds good.
Saw somebody that had it and it looked awesome. So check that out. That's at least Moorhead's burger of the month. I don't know if it's for all of them, but I'm guessing that they you'd be able to get it at any of the locations. With that, we're going to roll into the recap of the Detroit game. We're going to try not to get down the rabbit hole as much as we typically do. What's that?
I almost brought us down the hole earlier.
Well,
Yeah.
but
Anyways,
we got another little segment we want to put in after that. So we're going to do it a little, and because there's a lot to do with this Detroit game that we've talked about over and over again that doesn't really need to be repeated again. Like it's beating that dead horse into the ground again. Justin Jefferson had himself another massive day. 11 catches, 182 yards, and a touchdown.
Electric day out of Jefferson.
Mm-hmm. Kirk Cousins, productive day stat-wise anyway. 30 of 40 for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had
Once
a
we
fumble.
had stats look decent.
Yeah.
Doesn't equate to a W.
Nope. Alexander Madison, 22 carries, 90 yards, and a touchdown. But with the offense, here again, we had set up in a short field a couple of times early on, and we end up settling for field goals. We get down in the red zone and we'd go uber conservative and we'd bog down. It seemed like Kubiak went back to his coloring book again to call plays on a lot of that stuff. He said the one other thing, with Jefferson in there, now all of a sudden Clint going back. It's like, here again, it's like a kid playing Madden, they find a play that they like.
Yeah.
Now Kubiak is throwing in that Justin Jefferson pass every single freaking game now. And everybody knows it's coming.
Yeah.
On that play this past game, there was a free rusher running straight at Jefferson. Kirk threw it over there anyway.
Yep.
And Jefferson barely got it off before he got creamed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a play that you run maybe twice a year. Not, within the span of 6 weeks, you run it 3 times.
It's been 3 times the last 3 games.
Has it been
I'm
3
pretty
times?
sure. I know they ran it last week, and
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they ran it against the Packers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's a play that you run once or twice a year, not especially within the span. If once every game for 3 games, you don't do that with that play.
No.
Because then teams start to game plan against it.
Well, right, and they know everybody's seen it by now, so it's
they know Justin can throw the ball.
That's the thing about a trick play is you run it when people aren't expecting it, not when everybody in the country has seen it happen for the last 2 weeks, and then you go do it again. But we'll talk more. We'll talk more about the coaching here in a little bit. Beyond that, one of the big new thing when it came out, of course, was Christian Darrisaw was inactive for the game. So instead of keeping 4/5 of our offensive line intact and putting Rashad Hill back in, who had played the first 4 or 5 games, we decide to completely revamp 3/5 of our offensive line. We take Mason Cole, who's been doing a very good job at center, move him over to right guard, take Oli Udo, who has been garbage at right guard, and move him over to left tackle to protect the blind side, and then bring Garrett Bradbury, who was ass at center, and put him back into center again.
And then expect Cleveland to continue to be decent at the spot he's at.
Yeah, and hold on. Cleveland
You got crap left and crap right, on either side of you.
Right. And again, Wyatt Davis was active for the game.
Nowhere to be seen.
Nowhere.
At the very Area 51, he's taking his nickname on.
Right.
And I don't think that's in his liking. That's just
no.
Happens to be the case.
But why the hell don't you leave Mason Cole at if you're dead set on moving Oli Udo over to play left tackle? You leave Mason Cole where he's at center, where he's been playing well, and put Wyatt Davis in at right guard. Jesus.
Yeah. I know. I'm just as dumbfounded as you, man.
Ugh.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's more coaching stuff. We'll talk more about the coaching here in a little bit. So we'll move on to the defense. Again, we had flashes of good and then flashes of absolutely freaking putrid. One of the biggest bright spots, of course, we also found out, right before the game that both Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr were going to be inactive.
Right.
So our starting three linebackers were Candlelight Vigil, Blake Lynch, and Troy Dye. Now, Troy Dye was pretty much hot garbage all game long.
Yeah.
But
Blake Lynch, though, man. Oh.
Blake Lynch had himself a game. 9 tackles, 2 sacks, and a tackle for. He's got more sacks. He had more sacks in one game than Anthony Barr's had in the last 2 years.
And I think it was a forced fumble strip sack, wasn't it?
I'm at 1, yeah.
Yeah.
Nick Vigil had 15 tackles. He led the team.
They're quietly saying, Blake Lynch might be the future of that spot on the outside, after Barr leaves this season.
Oh, and
rightfully so. He's the epitome of what you want, on this team. He's a Viking, through and through.
Yeah, he's played well this season when he's had the opportunity. He played really well this week. But that's about where the good stuff ends. We start looking, we were up when we started the second quarter. We gave up 20 points to Detroit in the second quarter. They hadn't scored 20 points total since week 1, and we gave up 20 in a quarter. Of course, along with that, we gave up not 1 but 2 scores in the last 2 minutes of the second quarter again.
Yeah.
So
it was just
again, right on average, another 6 points. We are at now, I believe it is 76 or 77, whatever it is through.
It's like looking off into the distance and seeing the tidal wave coming.
Yeah.
You just know it's coming. You're just waiting for it to hit.
Mm-hmm. Now, it'd be 72 points because it was 66 last week and then 2 field goals, 72. But still, that I don't know why we just completely lose our minds when it comes down to that last 2 minutes. I mean,
it mirrors your coaching.
Well, exactly. But and then of course we had that last drive, which we'll discuss a little more in depth here in a second. But what everybody knows, when you pressure Jared Goff, he's prone to make mistakes.
You could just by watching him play.
Yeah. So that last drive, what do? We rush 3 and drop everybody and let him march down the field. The only play where
make him look like fucking John Elway out there.
The only play we actually stopped him was that play where Harrison Smith blitzed off the end, and if Brashad Breeland could catch.
Aggressive that drive.
But the problem with that is, I heard this today on this is Monday when we're recording, that Harrison Smith went rogue on that one. It was a busted play defensively, and he just he saw an opening. He said, "Fuck it, I'm taking it," and he rushed on his own. That wasn't designed, and it almost ended the game because if Brashad Breeland could catch,
that's
he'd have.
Fuck you to Zimmer right there.
Well, and to what we've been talking about before.
And Harrison Smith called out the defensive coaching staff after the game.
That's what I was just going to get to here. We've been talking about Zimmer starting to lose the locker room. We've heard Adam Thielen grumbling and everything else. Harrison Smith straight out said, we played way too soft on that, today to win the game.
That's been the story of this fucking defense forever. For as much as Zimmer knows about defense, he rarely gets aggressive.
No, well, but look at that. When we got down there, Detroit had time for one play. We called a timeout to give them time to get things figured out, and we should have had time to figure out what we were doing too.
You know what?
We leave Amon-Ra St. whatever the frick his name is open. Nobody was guarding the goal line on the left side. You had both.
Why do you run a prevent defense on the 10-yard line?
There's Hawkinson inside. Here we go. Goff from the gun to the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown.
It wasn't even the 10. Yeah, it was, because what was it? It was a great setup, like Ted Glover said on, I don't know if it was on Facebook or Twitter. I saw
it was a great setup if you were like at midfield.
Well, yeah, it's a great setup to cover a Hail Mary, but unfortunately you were at the 10-yard line. You had both Dantzler and Woods playing back, and
12-yard cushion.
Yeah,
here you go, take the end zone.
Yeah, and St. Brown just crossed and touchdown. Game over. How? And this comes down to, again, fundamentals, basics. No, Zimmer's supposed to be a defensive back guru. Guru.
The who? The her.
You know what?
And his defensive backs have sucked ever since 2017 when Xavier Rhodes had that one good year.
A formula, it's not a good formula for a conservative offense and a conservative defense. It's not a good formula. You mix that together, You're not going to win very many games.
And that's evident. And then Zimmer had the freaking balls to come out in his presser and say, well, yeah, I told the guys, when games are close like this, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. That's just the way the NFL is. The games are close because of your stupid fucking coaching decisions.
Players are getting sick of hearing that shit too. The
Players are getting
sick of win games.
Fans are getting sick
of that shit.
I mean, honestly, and after I cooled down a little bit, I kind of have an idea of what they might be doing here, but honestly, I wanted Mike Zimmer to walk up to TCO Performance Center this morning, try to put his key card in the thing and have it go, error, security will be escorting you from the premises momentarily. Please stay where you're at.
What's this shit?
Yeah. And he can take Kubiak and his coloring book along with him.
Let's go.
But anyway, before we get too much far down the rabbit hole, we're going to move on here again. Into the special teams. Kene Wangu almost broke another one. You made it 45 yards, I think, on the return on that one. He was like,
that was nice.
Basically,
I thought he was
tackle away from going.
Sure. Yep.
Jordan Berry again did decent on the punts that he had. Coverage teams again, decent. As it's sitting right now, looking at this coaching staff, Ryan Ficken is one of the few guys that I would even consider keeping.
Man, promote him to interim coach. I'd be all right with that.
I'd be fine with that. If they want to leave Patterson to, take care of calling the defense, because I'm guessing Junior Zimmer probably would go out the door if Dad got fired.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So
you would imagine so.
I would think so. Because I seriously don't think, I hope that he's not delusional enough to think, hey, if I stick around for the last 5 games of the season or 4 games of the season, it can help me get a job someplace else again.
Mm-hmm.
He won't have to worry about that, because somebody will decide they want to hire Zimmer as a defensive coordinator, and then he'll bring Adam in as a position coach or something, so nepotism. My name is Zim.
Zimmer's willing to go back to being just a coordinator.
Well, nobody's going to hire him as a head coach, I don't think, right now.
Yeah, I know, but a lot of those people that get that taste of head coaching in their blood, and they don't want to go back to their coordination.
But
just being a coordinator.
Zimmer's never wanted the responsibilities of being a head coach. He wanted the title, but he just he wants to deal with defense, but he wants the title of head coach. So call him assistant head coach defense or whatever for who. I don't care where he goes as long as he's not here.
We're all ready to wash our hands.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that, since we already started on it, we're going to roll into the coaching and tie a bow on this kind of whole thing. As we had mentioned, the play calling, again, we got uber conservative. I don't know if they, it seems like after we beat the Chargers and the Packers, we went right back to the old conservative play calling that Kubiak's been doing. So I don't know if they told Janoko, okay, I think we're good now. We don't need you to help anymore, or what?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say we were conservative when our best receiver had 180 something yards and a touchdown. But I mean, it didn't equate to a win.
No, but I mean, you look at the second quarter, there was a big chunk of it. Anytime we got down the red zone and those stupid 2-point conversions, first thing you do, you run and not even use your big back. You use your little fast scat back.
Chasing yards already in the third quarter.
Well, yeah. Well, we were chasing points before that. My personal opinion is you don't start chasing those points until you get maybe end of third quarter, start of the fourth quarter. Then, because we left 3 points on the, basically on the field by not kicking point afters. But first off, on those 2-pointers, you run Kanewa Angu right behind your worst freaking players.
Pete Carroll-esque.
Yeah, you run them behind Bradbury and Mason Cole up the gut. You shouldn't be running him up the gut. He's not big enough to do that. He's the guy you get out in space, swing pass,
try to blow a feather through a brick wall.
Yeah. So then on the next 2-point conversion, we run the same freaking play, except we use Alexander Madison this time. And that didn't work either.
They all seen that coming, man.
Yep. I mean, even by the time we tried the third one and we actually threw that time, I was listening to the radio today and they were playing Paul Allen's replay of these from the game. And the Vikings are 1 for 5 on 2-point conversions. And the Vikings are 1 for 6 on 2-point conversions. And we just missed another one.
Yeah.
I mean, the play
should have done a play action rollout on that first 2-point conversion to begin with, and then just go to your tight end on that.
Yeah.
Easy out to the tight end.
Yep. Or you get Jefferson in space on the other side. One of the two.
Right.
But here's an interesting stat I saw. They put this up during the third quarter yesterday, and of course it changed a little bit after that, after the points that were scored in the fourth quarter. But as of the third quarter yesterday, the Vikings were plus 33 in point differential in the first quarter and minus 29 for the other 3 quarters. That is like that's a 62-point swing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you're going to agree with me because you're not going to do the math in your head.
Oh, I know. Calculator right here.
Okay. You see the little abacus with the little beads going back and forth in there.
So if you're interested in learning how to upcycle that abacus from just a nursery decor piece to an actual learning tool, come along.
2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2.
Fucking abacus.
Here again, we gave up not 1 but 2 scoring drives inside 2 minutes. We already talked about that. The play calling on that final drive, like we've mentioned, we completely changed what we were doing all day long and went into that freaking prevent defense. we're just going to step back 10 yards and you can keep throwing it underneath. And they had 1:40 when they got the ball back. So what'd they do? Dink, dunk, dink, dunk, dink, dunk, dink, dunk, right down the field.
Yeah.
But one thing I got a kick out of this, and this was the actual verified account. I checked it before. Mike Tice put out a tweet.
Yeah, I seen that
after the game. He's like, effing Lions. He said,
True though.
He said, at least my sorry ass never lost to the goddamn Lions.
And it's true. He never did.
No, he never did.
Versus the Lions.
I
like Mike Tice, man.
I did too. I mean, he was a meathead, but he got a raw deal.
But he was strapped. He was handcuffed to a bad ownership.
Yeah, because Red McCombs was, he was so freaking cheap if you shoved a lump of coal up his ass and shit diamonds.
Right.
So anyway, we're going to move on from all this stuff because, what can be said that hasn't been said already. But Sunday after the game, though, I was watching our buddies Drew and Ted and Christopher Gates over on Vikings Report Rewind, their live after show that they do. And this question was posed to the guys, and I liked it, and I thought this was a good thing for you and I to discuss. Where does this loss against the Lions rank among the worst losses of the Mike Zimmer tenure?
Oof. What do we got for losses here?
Come on now. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Celebration. We gon' celebrate and have a good time.
Losses here.
Well, I went and did a little research this morning, and here is what, at least points wise or condition wise, are the 6 worst games that have occurred in the Mike Zimmer tenure. Of course, the Detroit loss yesterday. In 2018, the game we all remember of the upstart Buffalo Bills, who at that time Josh Allen still hadn't come into his own and everything. We were 17-point favorites in that game, and they walked into US Bank Stadium and boat raced us 27-6.
I had a feeling though that year that the Buffalo was on the up and up, and that's easy for me to say right now.
But they weren't that good of a team at that point in time.
They weren't quite there yet.
No. Of course, that was the game that happened the day after Everson Griffin had his issues the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So that was part of it, but still. Then, of course, the next one that I have is the 2020 game last year versus the Saints, where we let Alvin Kamara run for 6 touchdowns on us. Something that had not been done in the NFL since Ernie Nevers did it for the Chicago Cardinals in 1929.
Wow.
Gale Sayers did have 6 touchdowns in 1965 in a single game, but they weren't all rushing. He had at least one that was passing. We lost that game, of course, to the Saints, 52-33.
Defensive God losing these games, allowing 6 rushing touchdowns.
Yep. Then the other game, another game from last year in 2020, the game where the Atlanta Falcons 1 week after firing their head coach because they were at the time winless.
Todd Bowles came in and beat us.
No, it was
younger guy.
What's his name? They used to be defensive backs coach for the Raheem Morris.
Yep, there you go. Yep.
Okay, they come marching into US Bank Stadium and beat us 40-23 last year.
Put a whooping on us.
Mm-hmm.
Whole whooping.
Then, of course, we have the infamous NFC Championship game in 2017, where Philadelphia spanked us 38-7. Then we also have in 2016, when Indianapolis came in, and this was kind of right at the tail end of the whole Adrian Peterson kerfuffle. He came back and pretended like he didn't really want to be there and this, that, and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And we lost that game to Indy 34-6. And then the other one I have was in 2015 during the regular season, we lost to Seattle 38-7.
She's been disappointed against Seattle all in general, usually for the most part outside of this year.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know where do you think that yesterday ranks among all those?
I'd say somewhere in the middle. Yesterday's loss to me feels a lot like Childress' loss against Green Bay, the last year that Childress was here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know.
But that's
I do
what
that.
to me. But to me, that's what it feels like. Was Childress' last game that he coached here against Green Bay is what yesterday's game felt like to me.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a short week, I think the Wolves would have. I think they would cut the cord, But I think just because it's the fact that we have a Thursday night game, this might be the game. If Zim loses, that he's gone because we got the little mini bye there to install, whoever it may be.
Yeah, after the game yesterday, for anybody who watched the live breaks and the recap and everything, I was pretty hot about being adamant that Zimmer should have been left in Detroit. Shouldn't have been. But when I sat and thought about it this morning, a little bit, and when it came around to, 10, 11 o'clock, and he was obviously still the head coach, it kind of makes a little more sense.
Yeah. I pondered it yesterday.
I don't think that Zimmer game planning for Pittsburgh gives us the best chance to win, but I understand the reasoning.
It's going to be interesting to see how these players respond on Thursday to losing on Sunday. Do they play hard and for their coach, or can you tell that they're kind of packing it in my opinion?
Honestly, and
they're playing at the bank too. So that crowd is gonna be.
Oh, the Boo Birds are going to be out in full force.
Fire Zimmer.
I agree with what you're saying, and that was kind of what I was getting at with the mini bye coming up, because not only do we play on Thursday, then we don't play again until the following Monday because we have a Monday night game in Chicago.
Yeah.
And as we all know, Matt Nagy makes Mike Zimmer his bitch on a regular basis. Actually, I think, is the Bears game in Chicago or is it at home?
The first one's at home, I believe.
Okay. Regardless of where we're playing them, but
either way, yes.
But it makes more sense if you're going to make the change to do it Friday. Unless we come out and we stomp on Pittsburgh or something like that, then Zimmer gets to stay.
Like I said, it's going to be really interesting how these players respond to the loss on Sunday by the way they show how they play on Thursday night.
Yeah, but even from what we've been seeing from guys like Adam Thielen, guys like Harrison Smith this past week, I don't know that they're going to go out there and play for their coach, like you mentioned.
Right.
They might go out there pissed off that they got their asses embarrassed last weekend, play hard and do it for themselves. But I don't think that there's hardly anybody on this team that it's going to go out there and.
I think, and we got to believe everybody here is human. You got to think that a lot of this team is ready to move on.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this team is ready for new leadership. And this is going to be one of the hottest coaching spots available coming in the offseason. Somebody's going to want to come here. The team is ready to win still, in my opinion. With the talent is there, we got talented receiver
and especially
running back.
Especially if they do like most of us are calling for and go with an innovative offensive minded head coach. You would think any of these offensive coordinators are going to be sitting there looking, wait a minute, I get Justin Jefferson, I get Adam Thielen,
exactly.
I get Irv Smith coming back.
Exactly.
I get Dalvin Cook. I get Tyler Conklin, who's a good number 2 tight end.
I got an up and coming line that's
and I have at the very
head on her shoulder.
I have at the very end my 2 bookend tackles for the next 5 years or 4 years at least. So the defense needs a complete and total overhaul because most of the Band-Aids and duct tape we brought in this year
There's some
were
good
on 1-year
pieces
deals.
in there though too. You keep Kendricks, obviously.
obviously. And
But you
personally,
got some pieces there.
I think you figure out how to keep Danielle Hunter.
I think you look to see what you could get for Hunter. These last 2 years, this is, if you're going to trade Hunter, this offseason is the offseason to do it.
Fair point. Beyond that, there's some of the young guys that are going to be good depth players, like we mentioned before, Blake Lynch, James Lynch.
Oh boy, it's pretty bad that we're getting forward to the offseason and discussing what next.
Yeah,
year
we got 5 games yet to play, but there is some young talent that properly developed could be good backups. This is going to be one of the most hotly
sought after coaching jobs available, in my opinion,
and GM jobs as well, because as we've talked about this before, if you get rid of Zimmer but keep Spielman, you're not fixing the problem.
No,
because
I have a feeling it's going to be a complete.
It has to be. And I'm sorry to those in the Kyrgyzstan army who are listening, but I believe that also means that Kirk Cousins is going to be traded in the offseason. Because if you got a team that's rebuilding and starting over, you cannot be paying your quarterback $45 million next year.
Enough of this crappy backups. Not giving guys shots to make the team. I want the best players playing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want Manwich as a backup quarterback. I don't want to see that shit.
No, and that's another thing too. That's why another reason why I think people are saying, well, what's the point of having an interim coach for the last 4 or 5 games? Because you let some of these guys play. You let a Wyatt Davis get on the field,
and
who for whatever reason.
You let your veterans know that this franchise is headed somewhere else now.
Right. You get a Wyatt Davis, let him play because for whatever reason, he pissed Zimmer off at some point in time, and he will never see the field as long as Mike Zimmer's coach. Chaz Surratt, I don't know what he ever did to Mike Zimmer, but you can't honestly tell me that Chaz Surratt's worse than Troy Dye was this week.
It's been a staple of Zimmer's coaching, not letting rookies play. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Waynes. When Waynes came here, I kind of wonder what kind of quarterback could Wayne's been if somebody else would have been his coach.
Yeah.
Seriously. Because I have not seen Mike Zimmer bring a cornerback in here and make him anything special. Xavier Rhodes is one of Frazier's guys.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Zim do anything with the corner that's been so fucking great.
No,
that
not
being
at
the
all.
cornerback whisperer, honestly. And then, like I said, Trey Waynes didn't even play. He was healthy his rookie year, didn't play much. Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's frustrating. And you know what? After yesterday, my first feeling was, I feel bad about me, feel bad about the Vikings. No, I felt relief. I felt relieved because I feel like this is almost over and we can move on and better days are ahead of us.
Hopefully. So, but with that, we're going to move on here because we kind of went down that rabbit hole that we said we weren't going to go down. So
I got it off my chest.
Yeah, that's fine. This is also a therapy session. It's not just a podcast. So, but with that, we're going to
couching and laying on back here.
Yeah. With that, we're going to move on to our weekly awards segment. Again, we celebrate the good and the not so good. And we start off with the good, which we call our badass of the week.
Who is that guy? Whoever he is one tough badass.
Who do you have for your badass, Lance?
Well, I mean, you got to go with Justin Jefferson on offense, obviously. How can you not?
Mm-hmm.
And then on defense as well, you got to go with Lynch, man. That was impressive. He came out and had a great day. So one on offense, Jefferson, one on defense, Blake Lynch. I think they both are deserving of it.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm not going to argue the Jefferson thing at all. I'm going to give mine solely to Blake Lynch, though, just for the fact that he was another one of these guys that stepped in and actually acted like he gave a shit.
Right.
Jefferson's
Took advantage of the opportunity he was given.
Exactly. Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson. He's on a whole nother level. But Blake Lynch went out there and played like he wants to make this team next year. He wants to be a part of this going forward. Or if it's not going to be here, he's making a case for him to get himself to get playing time.
I hope that he's one of the guys that gets to stick around. I hope James Lynch is one of those guys that gets to stick around,
Mm-hmm.
I am excited for the future of this team. I'm excited to start talking about next year, and I'm excited about change because it's coming.
Yeah.
The chances of Zim still being here are about 5%, in my opinion, or lower. You know, he's hanging on by threads.
I don't know how there's any way he can be back next year.
Right, he's hanging on by a
Spielman
thread.
is probably that 5 to 10%, I think, but
Yeah,
like I mentioned,
I think the Wilfs
You
are
can't-
over this whole debacle. They're just waiting for the right moment to drop it.
well, and Spielman's not going to get fired before the end of the season. I'd be shocked if that happened. But as
They're making a statement by the Wilfs, that's for
yeah,
sure.
but as Judge Zolgad had pointed out on one of their shows last
Love me
week,
some Judd.
that and Judd is well tuned into the behind the scenes stuff with the Vikings.
He's
So
an OG when it comes to the
he,
Vikings.
he was a beat reporter for like 15 years, and everything
him
else.
and Chip back in the day.
But he said that he has heard from multiple sources of low level rumblings of the Wilfs are already starting to do their due diligence
Yeah,
on GM candidates and head coaching candidates.
they got their goons over in Jersey looking around or doing their due diligence and who they got for who's out there.
Yep. So anyway, that was the badass. Now we will move on to the not so great, which we affectionately call our Red Foreman Award of the week.
Son, you don't have bad luck. The reason that bad things happen to you is because you're a dumbass.
Who do you have for that, Lance?
Once again, Zim. I mean, out of everybody, it had to be Zim. I mean, for players, Udo, easy, another easy pick there. So
yeah, I mean,
it was
for me, and here again, it's beating the dead horse. I hate giving it to Zimmer every damn week.
I know, but it's hard not to.
But when you go out and completely shit the bed like you did as a coach and lose to a team you're supposed to be a team who's fighting to be in the playoffs and to make a run, and you lose to a team that was previously 0-10-1, and a guy who made probably one of the dumbest play calls of the season I've seen, going for it up by 2 at their own 32-yard line on 4th down, don't get it, give us the ball in field goal range. But even as dumb as that was, I knew in my gut that we were going to score on there and Detroit was still going to go back and win, because that's how this team plays this year.
I'm going to tell you what, or I'm going to tell you why this is bad coaching and not bad playing. It's because every single game, every team that we played has been in it. It's not because of the play. It's because of the coaching.
It's the same damn thing every week. It's just
the same damn thing every single week.
The only thing different is the opponent.
Yeah.
But and that's the sickening part about this whole season. I mean, you look at some of the very good teams that we have played and lost to. We literally were a couple plays one way or the other from winning 4 more games. And I know we laugh about that and everything else, but it's true.
Yeah.
But those plays are not necessarily the players not making the plays. It's the poor decisions by the coaching staff that puts us in that position to begin with.
It's not the team that's bad. It's the people that we lack good leadership here. We haven't game plan. There's times that we've come into a game and I'm like, did we even game plan? Where the fuck is the team still back in Minnesota when we're on the road? Sometimes I wonder if
and that's another thing too with the whole deal with some of these play. You watch that game on Sunday, and when they lined up, Joe Layman, you and I fans. I mean, granted, we're football nuts and we know
can't put together complete fucking games.
You could see the way they lined up that some of these plays were doomed from the start.
Yeah.
Because we all knew what was coming. Now, why is Kirk not audibling out of that? There's only one or two options here. A, they're not allowing him to, and if you're not allowing the quarterback that you're paying $31 million this year and $45 million next year,
he's a fucking veteran. We talked about
he's a 10-year veteran and one of the top 2 or 3 highest paid quarterbacks in the league. If you're not allowing him to audible, there's a major problem. The other viable option there is Kirk he's too scared to make mistakes and is not comfortable audibling being out of stuff. And it's just whatever the coaches call, he's going to run. And if that's the case,
I am Kirk quarterback. I make play.
Yes, I am QB bot. I will play input, play, execute,
Error.
interception, error. But if that's the case, that's also a major problem because you're paying this guy $31 and $45 million to be a franchise quarterback. And if he's not willing, able, or capable to be changing plays up at the line when he should be up there reading the defense and saying, oh crap, this ain't going to work. Kill, go to something.
As long as he's been in this league, he should know what plays work against what defenses and what audibles would work against what defense.
Right. Like I said, you got people like you and I who've never played a down a quarterback in our lives.
It's pretty bad when you got Tommy Kramer calling out Kirk Cousins after the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I respect Tommy Kramer's opinion way more than most people because he played the game forever. He was tough as hell.
Right. Put his his body on the line every game.
Kramer has seen everything that this league has had to throw at the team, and if he says something, I'm going to sit up and listen to it.
Right.
But it's just
Kirk Bot 2000, no likey.
Kirkatron 2020. But anyway, we're going to move on because we're starting to go down a damn rabbit hole again. We'll move on to our fantasy football challenge recap of the week. Of course, for those of you, I'm sure most of you know by now, but those who might be new to the show, we have a fantasy challenge going on between not only Lance and myself, but also Vikings Uncensored and our buddies Drew and Ted over at the Vikings Report. As we've been going on back and forth, Lance has been handing me the business for a better part of the season. Did so again this week. So Lance wins 88.75 to 59.7 to go up 8-5 on the season.
Put that crown on my head, Rhino.
Ching. But more importantly, the head-to-head we have going on with Vikings Report. Now, we had won 4 straight against those guys to go up by 2. And they squeaked out a win this week by the slimmest of margins.
That's ridiculous.
Vikings Report beat us 149.95 to 148.45. And basically the reason why that happened is because I picked Darrell Henderson for running back and he ended up not playing. So, if he'd have played, we'd have had our 5th straight win. But now we are still up 7-6 with 5 games remaining. So it is still anybody's match between the two of us, and that the steak dinners are about ready to head on the grill here pretty soon. So. So with that, we are going to roll into another one of our classic beer commercials. So you guys crack one open, sit back, check this out, and we'll be back in a minute.
Take another beer, bitch.
Can I get a beer, bitch?
Hi, can I get another beer, bitch? Throwing martini, bitch.
Joseph Beerbitch Golden Pilsner. Extraordinary Pilsner. Extraordinary name. Enjoy responsibly. Order cautiously.
All righty, we are back. And now, as we are normally to do here at this point in time of the show, we will put the Detroit Lions game in the rearview mirror and look ahead to this Thursday night's matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers at US Bank Stadium. Prime time.
So excited.
Yeah. Now, as we have been doing the last few weeks, I go through pull up the offensive and defensive rankings and everything like that. After the Detroit game, I figured, screw it. We're not going to go because none of that stuff means anything at this point in time because we're going to go out there and we're going to play the same that we have played for the last 12 games.
We are what our record is.
Mm-hmm. As Bill Parcells said, you are what your record is. And right now we're not very good. So, but anyway, looking at Pittsburgh, of course, you have at quarterback the rotting corpse of Ben Roethlisberger, who has, he came back for one more year, and he'd have been better off calling it a career last year because he's been awful this year. He just has not been good.
I watched some of the game against Baltimore, and he had some passes that were right there that his receivers were dropping too. But I mean, he's nothing like he was at one point in time.
No, I mean, he can still sling it a little bit and stuff, but he's not anywhere close to the quarterback he used to be. That being said, they do have a crap ton of weapons on offense that we have to be looking at. But yeah, like I said, they have rookie running back Najee Harris, who's had a pretty decent season.
I'm worried about him.
I am too.
He's going to be the X factor, I believe, in that game.
Yeah, because we still have not been great at stopping the run. We held Detroit to 100 yards total this week, but Michael Pierce and Dalvin Tomlinson are both back, so I expect to see both of them playing this week. At wide receivers, Pittsburgh's got some pretty decent targets there. You've got Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool, and Deontay Johnson. Probably they're probably their biggest three threats. They have another receiver, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, that plays a fair amount too. But these are probably their best known guys. But they're all quality receivers. So if you give Ben time to find them, they're going to pick you apart.
Yeah.
Now, granted, with Ben, he's still a big dude back there, so you're going to have to put the wood.
He's pretty stationary.
Yeah, but you're going to have to put the wood to him to take him down.
Yeah.
You're not going to catch him with a glancing arm grab around the corner and take him down for sack.
No, and he will throw interceptions too. I mean, he's prone to throwing picks. So
you flip over.
See what happens.
Yep, you flip over on the defensive side of things. Up front, their biggest name is probably Cam Hayward, who he's been around for quite a while, but he's still a pretty good player.
Yeah.
The strength of this team.
I like Bush too.
Yeah, I was going to get to that right now. The strength of this team is their linebacking core, because you have TJ Watt, Devin Bush, and Joe Schobert are their three bet. They run a three.
Bush are just nasty, man.
They run a 3-4s, but those are their big ones. I mean, TJ Watt has put himself in position.
He's an animal
to possibly get the sack record this year.
Yeah, he's an animal.
He's a beast. He's probably one of the best outside linebackers in the league, if not the best.
He's probably one of the best defensive players in the league right now, honestly.
Right. Oh yeah. Right now, I wouldn't. I won't argue that one. Then on the back end, they've got Minka Fitzpatrick at safety, who's a pretty good safety.
He's pretty decent.
Then you've got Joe Hayden at one of the cornerbacks. Now, he didn't play last week, and as of Monday here when we're recording, I have not heard if he'll be playing this week or not.
Okay.
So, that the cornerback spot might be a little exploitable. Granted, we're going to be down Adam Thielen, so it's going to be Jefferson and Osborne and, the cast of D.D. Westbrook and Dan Chisena, and who, will probably be about the extent of it. Running the ball might be a little tough this week.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a rough time running it this week as well.
We're gonna have to throw the ball. And it's gonna have to be plays down the field, because if you keep with this dink and dunk short crap, these wide receiver tight end screens, and
this team has no identity on offense, in my opinion.
Oh, it does.
Outside of Justin Jefferson, this offense has no identity at this point.
Oh, it has an identity. It's the identity of a ship with the rudder stuck at a 45-degree angle and just goes in circles the whole time.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way of putting it for sure. Yeah.
So, and this being another primetime game, are we going to see Kirk Cousins come out and be normal Kirk that we see so many times under the primetime lights? Or are we going to have the good Kirk that we've seen on multiple occasions this year come out, ball out, put up big numbers and get us a win? It's a complete toss up. I mean,
Yeah.
what you're going to see. About the only probably certainties that we're going to see in this game is that we're going to give up a score within 2 minutes of the first half. And there's going to be some stupid coaching calls. Now, that's one thing where the Steelers have a massive upgrade over us is in the coaching.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of hard to knock somebody that's proved it year and year and year after and year after, as far as records go and knowing how to win games and get to the playoffs.
Yeah, even when shit goes wrong, they still end up with winning records.
Exactly. Good teams know how to win games. It all starts with who runs the ship and who calls the shots.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with the leadership and then trickles down.
Yeah, and they've got it and we don't. So I guess with that, unless you've got anything else about this game, we'll move on to our picks and prognostication section, and we will do the game itself first. So what are you thinking?
I don't know, man. It's all going to come down to what I see, what I see from the players and their emotion on Thursday night. And, a lot of that's going to tell me more. I'm not going to really be able to give you a solid answer until I see who shows up and who decides to shut her down, to say the least.
And that's, really where I'm at too. Like I mentioned earlier, it's going to go, the players could come out pissed off and embarrassed about what happened on Sunday and be playing for themselves and play lights out.
Right.
Or we're going to have, but more likely we're going to have more of the same because they're going to be neutered by the coaching. We're going to have questionable play calls. We're going to do stupid things in the guise of trying to be aggressive when it's not smart to be aggressive, like going for 2 when you don't need to, or, some of this stupid stuff that we've been doing. Kubiak going back to calling plays out of his coloring book again. The Kirk Cousins primetime thing, he still has not erased that narrative from his discussion. And don't go hating on me because I'm saying Kirk struggles in primetime, because he does. We all know it. I don't care if you don't want to admit it or not.
He doesn't even have a winning record overall.
Not even close.
So, it's not even like this is the narrative of the team. I'm sick of hearing it, that we can't win games. That we'll choke at the end. I'm sick of that shit. I'm ready for a culture change. Somebody that's going to come in here and make us fans take notice.
Well, that's the thing right now. It's, I want this team to be one of those teams, like New England in their heyday, like Kansas City right now, where your opposition looks at you and you're like, oh crap, we got to play the Vikings this week. Not,
right.
Oh, hey, we're playing the Vikings this week. If we just don't fuck up too badly and keep it close, there's a good chance they're going to fuck up and we'll be able to pull a win out at the end.
Right. Every time we're that good, it's like catching lightning in a bottle. It's like once every 7 years that we have a team that other teams are afraid to play.
Right. I want a team that's like that year in and year out, not once every 5 years or once every 10 years.
Team
whatever.
that every time you play them, you're going to have to play them tough.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm not going to give an official.
I'm going to say Pittsburgh takes this one.
I think honestly, I think so too. I'm not going to give a point spread, but I said we haven't changed the narrative in the 13 weeks that we've played so far.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, This whole season has been just mind-numbing,
Yeah.
to say the least.
I mean, when this stuff happens, maybe a game or two, you can think of it as, okay, maybe it's an anomaly, but when it's happened every week but one, the only game we've played this year where the final score was not
Seattle game.
one score or less was the Seattle game, and we won by 13 there. Well, and that's not a blowout by any means.
It's just the thing that sucks the most is when you know what this team would be capable of with under the right leadership and coaching, because this team could be just as good as that 98 team, if not better, if we had the right coaching in here and the right leadership.
Well, and that's the maddening thing about this is the NFC, there's no real dominant team. I mean, the number one seed, Arizona, we should have beat.
Right.
Tampa Bay is probably the toughest out. We've already beat Green Bay once.
We weren't even supposed to beat Green Bay. I mean, we're winning games that we're supposed to lose and losing games that we're supposed to win, and then sprinkle in a little bit of randomness here and a little bit of randomness there. You don't know what you're getting out of this team.
No.
It all reflects on the people leading and running the show.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, with that, we're going to move on to our fantasy picks for the week. And again, as has become tradition, the previous week's winner gets to go first. For those, again, who are not wondering, two caveats. You can't pick somebody from the Thursday night game, which this week is again us versus Pittsburgh. And once you picked a player, you cannot pick them again. We got a quarterback, running back, two wide receivers, and a tight end. So who do you have for your quarterback?
I got Ryan Tannehill this week versus the Jags.
Okay. I am going to go with Matt Ryan versus the Panthers.
All right.
For my running back, I'm going to take Leonard Fournette versus Buffalo.
I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs versus the Chiefs.
Okay. Wide receiver one, who do you got?
I'm going to go with Devontae Adams versus the Bears.
Okay. I'm going to go with Hunter Renfrow versus the Chiefs. For my wide receiver two, I am going to take Cole Beasley versus the Bucks.
I'm going to go with Keenan Allen versus the Giants.
How about your tight end?
And I'm going to go with Zach Ertz versus the Rams at tight end.
Okay. I'm going to take Dalton Schultz versus what the football team.
I like what I see out of Heineke over there in Washington.
Yeah, Washington is coming on strong. I mean,
he's got some feistiness to him. I like him. I like the way he moves. I like the way he's got that fire inside. You know,
he reminds me a lot of 2017 Case Keenum.
Yeah, but better, like an upgraded version of Case. I think, in my opinion. I mean, he's got. I don't know. I like what I see.
He's got that gunslinger attitude, though, and I mean, he's made no bones about it. You know that he tries to emulate Brett Favre because Brett Favre was his hero growing up. So
right. Yeah, I like Heineke over there in Washington.
Yeah, but we didn't need him because he kicked out a window and.
I like what I seen on him every game he played in preseason for us. He has that will to want to win games.
Yeah, he's got that moxie and that attitude.
That never give up attitude.
Yep.
Yep.
So with that is about all we got for this week. I want to thank everybody again for watching. Everybody listening on the audio casts. Big thank you to you guys as well. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel, and go back if you didn't catch it and find our secret phrase of the game and comment down there in the comment section for, again, your chance to win this awesome Adam Thielen limited edition print.
Subscribe, guys. Come on. Hit that subscribe.
So yeah,
get better over here.
Click it, hammer, pound, pound, pound. Hit that little red button. Go, go, go.
We're here for you guys.
Yeah, but again, thanks everybody for watching. Tomorrow night during the game, I will again be doing the quarter breaks and the pregame, postgame live breaks. appreciate everybody who's been following us on the Facebook channel for those.
Fantastic stuff.
We've had a lot of good interaction. I love commenting with, interacting with you guys and the comments that you're doing. Everybody watching the videos, it's been great. So we're going to keep doing it. But with that, that's about all I've got. Why don't you take us out of here, Lance?
Episode 38 in the bag. Man, what a season it has been.
And not in a good way.
Yeah. Like I said, it's been one of those years. Really don't got much to say on the wrap this week other than let's go get those Steelers.
We'll see you guys
next week.